issues.
Can you imagine if they did this in our capital, our national capital, protesters speaking on behalf of the country's dictator? That's what he is right now at this point. Storming the Capitol and beating the crap out of those who don't like them, those who don't like the leader of the country. This is Venezuela. This is how far it has fallen. This is how we continue this theme of global financial disarray. And this in a country that had more oil and more money than it knew what to do with. But then all of a sudden it started spending that and then some, making unrealistic promises and cradle-to-grave assurances for anyone and everyone. It ran out of money. It ran out of oil. And now it's running out of options. And right now, the country is running out of legal challenges to a dictator who will just beat you up if you don't go along, or worse. To Fox Business Network's Charlie Gasparino on what is quickly dissolving there. But tell me what's happening here, bud.
Well, what you basically have is an economic implosion of the kind we've not seen in a country, at least in our part of the woods, in a long time. I mean, you know, this is the bottom line. I remember when I got out of the University of Missouri back in 1990, one of the plum journalism assignments was covering international trade and business of Venezuela, believe it or not. It was an up-and-coming country. It had vast oil reserves. It had allegedly an educated workforce. It was the place to be in South and Central America. And, you know, over the last, since that time, a combination of things happened. As you know, Neil, I'm not an expert in Venezuela, but you can just imagine there was a reason why Hugo Chavez, a strongman socialist dictator, took over. And
you know what, Charlie, you're an expert at math, and you're one of the best at it. And you're an expert at money coming in and money going out. And for all the money that was coming in, and it doesn't have to just be Venezuela. You could talk about protests in Europe where they had a lot of money coming in and made cradle-to-grave promises for money that far exceeded what was coming in that was going out. And eventually there's a reaper to pay. And that reality hits at different times for different countries, even states like Illinois, but it hits at different times.
Right, and when you don't have social mobility, this is what you get. I mean, here's the thing that makes America great and why our system sustains and why it's scary that the future might not be sustained, is that there was social mobility, or there was at least the belief that if you worked hard, you can overcome your current financial situation and move up. If that does not exist, dictators will take over. One of the good things about the Trump economic agenda is that it wants to restore some of that old-fashioned capitalism that provided that sort of upward mobility for so many years. That's the problem when you have countries that don't provide social mobility.
If you look at Maduro in Venezuela, you think about it, and he was duly elected, but he's become much like Hugo Chavez, a dictator.
Right.
And he has his thugs beat up protesters and those who don't like what he's doing. That is out of control. That's really out of control.
This is what happens when the sort of leadership of the country falls apart, where the economy falls apart. You're going to have a moron like this, a bad guy, step in and do what he's doing. I will say this has happened in other places, and I what's an interesting contrast? Contrast what's going on in Colombia right now with what's going on in Venezuela. Colombia was a country that was saddled with a bad drug problem. I mean, the drug cartels originated there, and violence in the streets. And guess what? They cleaned that up. They embraced more capitalism. Colombia is a more vibrant economy right now. It's not having these issues. It didn't have the vast natural resources that Venezuela have, but it doesn't really need it. It's got a growing economy, or one that's growing a lot more than Venezuela right now, and they're not having this sort of social situation. So I think the root cause to a lot of this stuff, whether it's Greece or Venezuela, and I know Media Matters is going to write me up for this, but it's socialism, and it's the embrace of everything for free, because at some point someone's got to pay.
Yeah, manufacturers eventually run out of money. All right, and that's what happens. That is a common theme here to Charlie Gasparino's point. A little more to this, but I want you to look at this world through not only the protests going on in Hamburg, not only what's happening in a rare vote to override a governor who's now facing the prospect of higher taxes on his people. A lot of them don't like it. He doesn't like it, but essentially what he is saying is, I have to save my state. And those in his own party are saying they have to save him from ruining the state. And it's a back and forth drill that plays out in places like Venezuela. It plays out in states like California and all these other places where the math simply doesn't add up. Money in, money out. I know it's boring, but right now it's very, very hot. A little more to this.